So, hello, my name is Stanislav Gurnik. I'm Backend chapter lead at Rouvy. Just from the curiosity, how many of you are cyclists or define as a cyclist? One ride per week. Okay. So probably those who do cycling know Rouvy, but actually we are the company that makes some kind of video game that brings the outdoor experience of riding indoors. So we are able to ride whatever, like many monumental climbs or La Vuelta or Tour de France or something like that. Okay, so microservices. The deal with microservices is something like that. We are trying to create new application, probably starting some development of the application in the startup and trying to bootstrap your idea. Probably you will be overwhelmed on the internet with the claims like microservices is the best way how to deal with your future startup because it provides you with this unlimited power of scalability, easy maintenance, and probably infinite possibilities. Everything you throw at it, this architecture will be solved. So if you read those articles, it sounds like almost magical. but it's this is the reality of the microservices because from the just to put it in the context, my job for the last few decade maybe of doing development work is to break the monoliths into some kind of microservice architecture. And I can tell you that bootstrapping a microservice architecture is quite not an easy task. It requires you to have a lot of experience from it. The bootstrapping is hard. You have to probably have some DevOps team or infrastructure team which can handle all the management of the microservice architecture. And this also every microservice you create can introduce you to the new problems of the microservice world, and also you are not defected or defended from the those failures that are commonly used with monolithic applications, such as single responsibility principle and so on. All these development words that commonly are used with monolith are also possible in the microservice architecture. Developers can easily implement those failures there also. And my mainly point is that the microservice architecture, because this bootstrapping is quite hard, it can really, really slow your development down. And mainly on the beginning stage of your product, of development, this is probably not something you want to have. If you have a startup, you want to make the entry on the market as soon as possible. And from my opinion, monolith application is something that can provide that fast bootstrapping and going to the market quicker than microservice architecture. But there is that but that probably you will in some point you will have to like introduce some kind of microservice architecture. And what I think is to like build the monolith in the way that it will enables you to practically like fluidly switch to microservice architecture when and if you need it. So probably, I don't know, this is like my experience of the monolithic applications, probably yours too. That's like I have lots of classes or some modules. They are like interconnected seamlessly. Storage, one is touching the storage of the other, and is the mess. But I don't think that this should be like the way this is done. And I know that like this cannot be applied to like a legacy system where there's already there's the failure, and it doesn't make sense just to like, rewrite it. But for the new applications, there are a few things that you can do to like prepare the monolith application to be transformed to microservice architecture further. And I want to talk you through some of the patterns that I think are useful for that reason. So the first thing what is like really important for a monolithic application is actually to modularize it. That means that really think about what are the system and context inside of your applications. So, and to think about how those modules communicate between them, and to have like this very sharp differences, and really just boils down to the single responsibility principle. So to know where to look if I'm dealing with some context in your application. And okay, so when you think about these systems, now you just have to think about how to properly distribute information between those modules. And one of the patterns that are quite useful for the monolithic application is something that's called command bus. Practically, that is some class with DTO, data transfer object, which holds some data. You just push it as an event, and every module that listens to this event can react to somehow to that. So, for example, you can have a module with a user, but the module can create some event or command in this case, which is called user created, and other modules that know basically nothing about the user module can listen to this event. Perhaps some emailing module which can listen to and then push some mailing communication to your customer or something like that. So the point is that this information is distributed without modules really knowing each other. And when you are creating like new functionality for this, you are not modifying your application. You're just adding to it or extending it without any modifications. And this pattern like translate to microservices architecture quite great, because this command can in the end generate some message in your messaging system, which can be like Google's PubSub, which we use, or RabbitMQ, or any other messaging system. And basically any other microservice that you will create or you pull from your monolithic application can listen on this message, and you can like fluidly transfer some part of your monolithic application to outside. And also it applies both ways. So if you like pull some part of your monolithic application outside, this microservice can publish some message to messaging system, and additionally this message can create command again in your command bus, and all of the monolith system can react to that without again any like significant modification to the system, which is the key here. Okay, another problem which you need to solve. So we solve like the distribution of the information, and now another problem is how to read the data between the modules. And this is like the commonly used pattern. I think every language has some kind of keywords around it, like facade, interface, or service, or something like that. The main like idea behind it is that you have module, and in front of the module you have some kind of gateway or interface that is not changing. So if we are trying to get some data from this module, you are always communicating through this interface, and you have like clearly defined what are the inputs and outputs of this interface. And again, this will not only allow you to really have the separated context in your application, it also translates to later stages when you bring a monolith to the microservices, when you just not like modifying extensively your monolith, you are just adding new implementation to the already existing interface inside your monolith application. So this is distributing information, reading information from the modules, and actually you will end up with monolith which looks something like this. But if we like look at some like common microservice architecture, these two actually does not like change much. They're quite same. So the question really, when you're designing your system, is not what to use, microservice or monolith, but how implement it. To think about the context, to think about your application, really think about what are the boundaries and context around the application, how these modules communicate between them, and then I believe you should not have the issue to fluidly go from one place to another, like from monolith application to microservice application, or the microservices back to monoliths. Actually, we at Rouvy, we done both ways. We also break monolith to microservices, but also we join many microservices to one monolithic application because of the benefits of the monolithic application, because it is quicker to develop, less maintenance, and other significant advantages over the microservice architecture. So to wrap things up a little bit, if you're developing mainly in these early stages of development, you just don't have to start with the microservice architecture right away. It's more about the thinking about it. And also, we introduce some useful coding patterns that can help you when building the monolithic application, so you can easily transform to microservice architecture when needed and if needed, because that can translate not only to beginning of the application, but also you can imagine developing a new feature inside your existing system, which already is microservice, but you don't know if it will be like commonly used. So I think it's a good idea to start building this monolithic application, and then perhaps, if done correctly, you can break it to microservices to boost your performance. And also, this is maybe the message for the CEOs and entrepreneurs, if there are any, please think about who you hire, because that is more important to have some guy who can help you navigate through the technological landscape we are in, more than some junior who just knows the magic words like Kubernetes and microservices. And it always boils down to basic programmatic thinking and coding, and thinking about the design of the application you are building. Okay, so thank you all for the talk, for the listening. Hope it will help you when you will be thinking next about how you build your application. And of course, if you disagree, which I hopefully you do, please come talk to me. I will be here for a while. And if you have any question now for the audience, please.
What were your specific reasons for switching to microservices and back again?
Well, we have historically at Rouvy had a legacy application, one which was built on PHP and was at this stage that it just doesn't make sense to rewrite it, but we choose the first path, so to break it gradually and to move some parts at a time which we know we need to touch, and left the others there. And but the second reason why we joined those microservices back to some monolithic application was because we overdone it. Basically, we just split it too much, and we knew that we are just copying some parts of the code over and over again. We could introduce some package or something like that, but it's the complexity, and you always want to have the most simple code you can have. This is always the benefit.
Can you scale a modular monolith forever? Or at some point do you have to break it down? And when do you think you should break it down?
Yes, at some point you have to break it down.
Okay. So it's inevitable.
For sure.
Eventually microservices will happen.
Yes, some kind of microservice. It may not be microservices. It might be macroservices, let's say. But at some point you want to have basically done that. There is this power of the Google or Amazon, and it is not infinite, and basically you will reach that limits sooner or later. So, but you can get long way with the monolithic application, very long way.
You mentioned that some things could be solved by libraries and sharing them. Do you think that some problems would be solved by having things in monorepo, but sharing some utility libraries rather than libraries as published package?
Sure, why not? It's just depends on the context, obviously.
Okay, I like your approach. I think it makes sense. My question is, how are you succeeding in keeping the domains separate?
I think we are fairly successful. We have we done some failures, of course. Everybody fails at some time, but The important thing is like always like look back, fix those things, think about them, and just get rid of them and keeps everything clean. We revise our infrastructure daily. If it still makes sense, are those boundaries between the contexts still valid? Should not be some part of this architecture pulled to some separate context and so on. It is always the process with microservices. You are never like ending it with some solid state which cannot be changed.